So I think all of you should be aware what the use case management service is. I like to start here to get into the platform itself then. Just as a small reminder, we have basically two spaces in the use case management. One is the front end, so the website, official website, where all the results are published. So this is really accessible to the whole community. Important to know is that if you like to download and read the use cases, then you have to do a registration. Why that? For every use case, it's possible to add some comments. There's a possibility for that, and therefore we have to know who writes these comments. Therefore, there's a registration, but it's free. And on the other hand, we have the so-called collaboration space. So this is the back end. This is the space for all the project teams. And each chapter can apply for a tenant. So a tenant is basically for the whole administration, for the user management, for the content management, and so on, for giving the opportunity to the chapters actually to run independently their own projects. So you don't rely on me or on the use case management project management office, but you can really do that themselves. So for that you have to apply for. There is an admission fee for that. Why an admission fee? Because we have to set up the attendant for you, we have to train you, we have to give you technical support in the beginning. We do the trainings. There is also online training. So all that together brings basically the reason for this administration fee you will have in the beginning. And then there will be another fee, a license fee, continuing from the second year onwards, actually just for licensing the use case management. So this is the pricing model we have. But first, I really like to get into the platform itself. So you see here, there is the platform, the front end. The front end is has different languages, so you can change between English, German, French, and since a few weeks we have also a Dutch version on the use case management. So I'm going to change to English. So you see here on the left-hand side there are all the filters. So you can of course filter for languages, you can filter for chapters, even for rooms if they're already published something. We have also an option for enterprises. So for each of you tenants, for the tenants, they can basically resell a tenant to local enterprises. And we did that here in Switzerland to the Swiss Federal Railways. And they started now to upload their own company use cases. If you're going to filter for that, you will see there are some in German, of course, and you will also see they can publish their use case under their own logo. This may be different, so this is really the responsibility of an enterprise. It's not the responsibility of the chapter, so therefore we have here a clear differentiation by the logo. But you can support your companies in your region and give them the opportunity to use the service as well. So let's go back, reset. So these are the filters, and what you see here, these are all the use cases here listed, and there are always all use cases. You have to filter if you only like to see the English use cases. And once again, I'm going to show you today mostly this so-called prefabrication of pipe. This is so my standard use case to show you functionality and so on. But we have, of course, already quite a number of other use cases. How does a use case look like? We have here a short explanation about the use case management tool. I think the most important part is the IDM standard describes actually three core elements. So this is the use case definition, actually, where you say what is the use case about and what is required, what are the basics for that, and so on. Then you have always the process definition. This normally is a Vpn diagram. You will see that in my presentation later on. And then the third part is the exchange requirement. So it's always this structure you will see then also in the backend. If we go back to the use cases itself, let's go again to this English use case here, the prefabrication of pipe. That we have a red line here. You see here on the right hand side, this is the identification of a use case. So you have a possibility for different document types. So you can create a use case, but you can also create white papers or technical reports. It's also possible. So then we have the Geo Id, which is generated automatically. You have a local identification number. This ID here is for local proposers. You have life cycle stages. We here in Switzerland, we mostly use generic stages. We don't follow really a standard for that because each standard is different. But IDM proposes that you use ISO 22263. This is also possible. You have a revision number, you see the project status, work in progress, you see a maturity level, and you can say, okay, is this use case in these three core elements approved? So you can publish step by step. This means if you have a description of the use case, you can already publish this description without any process and exchange requirements. So therefore, this is step by step possible. You see the dates, you see the publisher itself, and you see who's the authors of this use case. And then if you are logged in, you can download the use case. There will be a zip file with all with the documentation and all attached files. Then what you see here is number one is the first stage, so the use case definition. So you have a short introduction. And then you define aim and scope. You define the objective. Aim and scope is from the appointing party, and the objectives are more the technical issues from the appointed party. You can add some references. You can add some limitations to that. So what you see, I think very important is that you always say what is the start point and what is the end point of a use case and what is included and what is not included. So here in this case, tendering is not included in the use case. Here's the imprint section. So you see the project group. You see the partners. Actually, this is it's quite an important feature here for us here in Switzerland. You can upload company logos from the partners which support the use case. Sometimes there is also financial contribution of these companies, and here you can list them so that they are visible here on the website and on the documentation itself. You can always click on the logos here, and then you will see basically yes, Geberit has supported these two use cases. Basically, it's the same use case, one's in English, one's in German. If we go back, the same is also with the project group. So if, for example, Stefan Wüst here, he supported also this use case. You see his companies. And this is important actually that the people get some recognition on the platform itself. And you can really link these people. Then one word to the copyrights. We always publish use cases on the Creative Commons copyrights. So this is given, and we have a short notice how to handle these use cases. And what you see here now, you can comment this use case, so you are free to comment that. We can collect these comments and provide that to the project teams once we have a number of comments from the user side. The next step is the process definition. So you see here there is a VPN diagram. Since these files can be quite large, it's always possible also to download, to attach a PDF file or a Word file or another file, so that people can better read these files. And then we jump into the different stages. So you see here again, there's the VPN diagram, and here we is the complete description of it. Engineering. So for example, you see now we have 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. You will find them all here, and you can expand that. So there is always a description for each of these input fields here. And for example, for the technical, for the exchange requirement for this technical model here, you can really describe according to the level of information need standard. So the level of information need standard specifies that you have to have geometrical information, alphanumerical information, and documentation. And this structure, you will see that then later in the backend, is following this level of information need. Here you see geometry. These are the attributes or the parameters we need for this use case at this certain point of time. And you see always initiator and executor of this use case. So technical planner to BIM coordinator. This means this is an exchange here between technical planner and the BIM coordinator. So this has, of course, to follow this VPN diagram. Yeah, this is all the whole description. And then you have the exchange requirement here as PDF or as Excel form, or we also have, for example, IDS format here as a test proposes. So everything is possible. I think the major target for the use case management in 2022 is that we can fully support the IDS development and by the end get a download or get the results out as an IDS file so that it can be used in the software really as machine readable file. So this is the possibility. If you have a PDF, for example, let's look like this PDF is like quite large, but you see here this is really the structure of an exchange requirement, where you see you have the 3 different exchange requirements. You have the properties, name the properties with value, ranges, units, sources, constraints, and so on, definition. And then what we did here is the mapping to IFC, IFC4, for example, and IFC 2x3. And this is basically the result out of a use case. We follow here in Switzerland, we have a clear structure. And the target for 2022 would be that we have a integrated IDS editor, that you can really do your IDS editing here with the API to the BSDD in, let's say, near future, as soon as everything is available. Okay, so this is how a use case look like. This is the front end. So any questions? Maybe up here I can explain some things. So you see here also, this is the part from the international part, so the generic part. So you see the contact, you see news, you see also training and documentation. You see here there is a training website. Also important to know, learn more here. You click learn more, and here's the link to the training website. And the training website actually gives you here a lot of information. There are some tutorial videos here. You can, if you how to access the core collaboration space, for example, you can always watch these videos. There is a quick starting guide. You see what kind of documentations you can create. And here's the whole training. So how to create a new project, metadata, how you edit the use case, how you do process definition, for example. So always with videos inside. So actually it's quite easy to follow. If you have any questions, how to add, for example, these disciplines and so on. So you have a lot of this kind of training videos here online. So this is in this section. And then each chapter who joined has the possibility actually to upload also kind of a localized subpage. So here for buildingSMART, we explain what we do. We can create our own documentation if you like. We have our partners here, for example, listed. So you see here, these are the local partners in Switzerland. And basically, yes, here you can say, okay, we go again to Gabarit. And these are all linked. So everything is linked here in the platform. So easy to find everything. And we have the organization. So the SBB, Swiss Federal Railway. Okay, they did no English homepage here, but they could do also an English homepage for themselves. If you switch, for example, to German, then you see here, this would be the subpage from the SBB. Let's go back to English then. To the use cases. So this is the front end. Before I jump into the collaboration space, are there any questions from your side?
Yeah, so Jean-Paul is talking. Jean-Paul Trian from BSF France. Just a question about the BPMN schema and the items, the list of item description. Is there I understood there is a link between both, or it's completely manual?
No, it's completely manual at this point of time. There is a certain reason behind, because we do not only develop new use cases, also upload.
Yeah. Okay.
People like to upload their files.
No, I understand. No problem. Just a question. The second one is when we tested the UCM, we were looking about the link between use cases. How we can refer to a previous use case to follow by another. Is it possible?
This is possible. We have a so-called reference. I'm going to show you that in the back end. So you can choose from a list of all published use cases and make a reference to that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Jan here. I really think it's amazing what you have been doing to develop the tool, and it's also good to see the go into more details. But how do you the companies that are using this, organization using this, is it to help them to understand how they can use it, or kind of what is the outcome? It could also be just to model the processes that could be beneficial. And I also mentioned it last time. If they expect it will be implemented, then it could be a challenge. Kind of what about the expectations? Because to implement, then we need companies, and we might need the extension of the IC model, and maybe if you have any experience, kind of that if you have been doing this work, and then you hope that somebody else is carrying it to kind of to the end. Now you have specified the requirements, and then you expect that somebody is actually making it come true, or are you specific or limited to the current capabilities in the existing software?
Yeah, first of all, is maybe how the process here is here in Switzerland. So we support our members in developing the use cases, and this tool here, the use case management, is really very strongly supporting the structure, how you have to develop and create a use case. So this gives you really a guideline, how you have to do that, what you have to consider, and what is important on it. And this helps our members a lot. And we do trainings with them. We have numbers of project groups. They started with one use case, and we did a lot of training with them. And now they understand how to develop a use case, and now they can run quite independently. So it's not a tool or a service where you can say everything is done automatically here. So you still need some experience, and you need to know how a use case should be developed. And if we go to the exchange requirement, this list here, of course, the IDM standard says you have a non-technical format here. And maybe I have to do that a little bit bigger here. So this first part is actually what you see here. People say, okay, this is what I need here. And they can really, the project group, they can define what they really need. But they are not necessarily IFC experts. So I strongly recommend that you have a group at your chapter who is supporting people how they have to create then IFC, the IFC mapping to it.
But you might ask for something that hasn't been implemented or isn't in the IFC specification, and then yeah, we just have to be careful what we promise about the expected schedule or timeline.
Yeah. I think what the development for this year is really that we have this so-called IDS editor, that this table here is not, let's say, an Excel tool anymore, but something kind of an editor where you can access the BSDD, and then that you can choose your P-sets and your properties from the BSDD. And of course, we have to define what happens with custom properties. What you see here, for example, we defined here in Switzerland, CH, this means Switzerland, and UCM, prefab pipe mounting parts. So this is a custom piece set from Switzerland. And yeah, we have to define how to handle this custom piece sets later on in a BSDD. This is not yet done. We have to do that, and these discussions will run this year. And I think by end of the year we will quite have kind of an IDS editor which accesses the BSDD. Yeah. Other questions? Otherwise, I would jump into the backend. So if you go to the backend, let's go here. If you're logged in, you can go to the backend. You have a certain dashboard for the administration. And then here, what I can do, I can select, of course, because I'm administrator of everybody, so I can select the chapter here. What I did here is I have a training part where we can let's go, let's say, play a little bit with the use cases. And what you see here, this is the library. And basically, the nice part is that you can jump into this library. It's fully transparent to all backend users, and you could download actually the actual state of the development of a use case. Of course, you cannot edit the use case because you are not allowed to do that, but we have full transparency of the use case, that you see who is working on that. So you could download this here and see the interim results. So this is the structure, is a library structure for each chapter here, basically. You see here for buildingSMART International, we have the airport room, building room, construction, infrastructure room. So the whole BSI organization can really make use of the use case management and upload the use cases. We have, for example, here georeferencing. It's also a use case we did once for an existing use case, and we uploaded that to the platform. But now what I like to do is really to show you how you can create the use case and how it looks like. So first, when you create the use case, you add a use case. There will be here different possibilities. So first you have to define, of course, a naming. And here we have different languages. Mandatory is always English and the local language you are working in. I did here two local languages, but also the English title. Why English? Because at least the title should be translated and readable for everybody. The rest of the use case is, of course, in the local language if you do not translate it to English. Then you have two possibilities. You can either generate a full IDM or a use case. Differentiation between this is basically only the title, because an IDM is basically a collection of different use cases will follow exactly the same structure. So you can choose that, or you can choose a free-form document. Free-form, as it says, is let's say, has no structure. You can add some text blocks. And you can, for example, create a case study. You can create a technical report, an award documentation could be possible, and also standards and guidelines. This is a possibility. But today I like to show you how to create a use case. So you say, okay, I create a use case, and then you have two possibilities. Either you select the global lifecycle stages or locals. So please do not use the local ones, because these are for the company-specific requirements. So, for example, if you are an enterprise and you have your own life cycle and your own disciplines, then of course you can choose upload this selection, and then people from the company can use that. For buildingSMART chapters, always use the global ones. And here you see a list of available life cycle stages. So the IDM standard says you have to use 22263. And from the disciplines, there is also a list. So we have here for Benelux a list. We have the 9650 disciplines. And I recommend always to use the Omni-class disciplines, because this is very, very comprehensive. So, sorry. Okay. So this is the Omni-class. And then very important to know is, once you save that, you cannot change this anymore. The reason behind that is because the use case management now, the platform creates the structure according to these requirements. So if you save that, okay, what's that? I don't have to save that. If you save that, then now the use case is generated. And what you see up here is now, of course, you have first the metadata, which you saw before on the right-hand side. And then you have this structure here, use case definition, process definition, and exchange requirement. So always this structure for the use case. And now you see, of course, here are the libraries. It's in the training here. We have some definitions, clusters where you can define and some information for the backend. What you see here is always you have always the possibility for different languages. I can assign languages if you like more. So always use actually the English here. One word to the project group. That you have read and write permissions. We have to create a project group first. And you have here as an administration, you have here the possibility to do the settings. And for example, you can create a project group. So I have a project group for the training. And then I would have to assign members here, because I'm here in the training section. I didn't assign any members here, but here you can select then the members of the project group, and then you have to assign it to the use case. So this is how it is running. Okay, so now I think I have to do it again. Sorry. I jumped out of the sorry again, I have to do that. Didn't save it. So, okay, once I save it, then you really are ready to fill out the use case in the structure which is required. So okay, you see here now for the identification part, as I said, Geo Id was defined, and all the rest is actually you can choose yourself. So you can, let's say, choose an own identification. You can change the title. You can add a short text. This is also very important. So do not make too long titles to your use cases. People intend a little bit to explain what a use case is in the title. For this is the short text. So just make some short titles and explain briefly the use case in the short text. Then you have the project status. For example, you can say it on the review and so on. You have the publisher. You can say, okay, buildingSMART Switzerland, for example. And you can select who created this use case. So this is the identification. I believe it's always very straightforward. Mostly our text fields easy to add, so not so much to do wrong. Once we publish a use case, these are the tags you will find on the filter list then in the front end. So you can say, okay, this is a use case, it's an example, it's in the infrastructure and in the airport, for example. I did it for Austria, or I'm in a room. I have approval body is by international, buildingSMART International. Life cycle, this 3 life cycles are assigned, and so on. If you do that, then these are the filters for the front end. So also here, will always be asked, can we add a lot of more filters? I'm always hesitating a little bit, because filters should be really clear and not too many. What we will add in the future, since there is no real classification for use cases, the best is this BIM users we had developed a few years ago. This is a list of about, I think, 40, 50 different classifications for use cases, and we will add this so that you can filter according to these BIM users. Then we have the imprint, so you can add your project group and partners, the handling and the copyrights. Handling and copyrights is always created automatically, but you could edit it if you like. So this is basically how you have to start. You have to define the metadata, and after that you jump into the use case definition. We have here references. The references are more according what kind of standards do you have. And then we have this structure here and how a use case is defined. So it's always the same. You can do a management summary. If you leave this field empty, it will not be displayed in the front end. So you don't have to fill out everything, but at least you have here the structure to follow. So you have the description, name, scope, objectives, limitations. And the good part is you have always also some short explanation, and you have the link to the training documentation if you have more questions to it. And then was the question about the use cases. So what you see here, these are the references, and here you can select the use cases which are already published, for example, and you can say, okay, my use case will follow this or is linked to these two use cases, abbreviation and so on. And then you have always the possibility to upload documents and images. If you do that here, then this will be attachments. But if you have an image, for example, of course, you can also just upload an image and embed it directly into the text. I'm going to show you later on the completely filled use cases. I just like to run through that here, that you see how the structure is. Once you save that, then you can basically jump into the process definition. Also here again, you have a short description here, and for the overall process. And I forgot something. In the use case definition, of course, you have now to define what kind of disciplines you have. And now you see here the Omni class. And you can say, okay, I have some project management disciplines. I have to select edit here. And then I can really choose the disciplines. I have a cost estimation here. I have different design disciplines, for examples, engineering. So I can basically select all my disciplines. If you don't find this discipline in the Omni class you like to have, you have the possibility, to add as well some you can add some own disciplines as well, so that you can select these disciplines later on. Always takes a few seconds for saving. So these are the disciplines, and then of course now you have to select the life cycle stages. What kind of life cycle stages? I always recommend the top the top level, but you can also jump into the second level where you say brief, you have outline, feasibility, and so on. Let's make a few selections here that we have this 3 stages. And if I save now these 3 stages, I will have these stages in the process definition. Takes a second for saving. So if I go and jump into the process definition, you see now here I have inception, brief, design. So this is what I selected before. Then again, for each phase, I can edit this one. So it can do a description. I can add my requirements. And the nice part is now I can add some text blocks. And this is where you have to follow the BPNN. You can say, okay, I have an activity and I have, for example, an exchange requirement. So I have these 2 here. I can give a number, for example, 1.1, 1.2. And I have also sources and references I can select here. I can select images and downloads and so on. Then I have to save that, and once I saved it, I can really start with my description. So you see here, I have an activity and an exchange requirement, and I'm going to show you now the exchange requirements, which I mentioned before. The exchange requirements follows the level of information need standards. Of course, you have some free-form text here, and then you see I have geometric information, I have alphanumeric information, I have documentation, I have business requirements, I have information constraints. So this is always the pre-given structure. I have the possibility, for example, to add two geometric information. So I could say model 1, and I can say model 2, and this here are my properties, for example. So this, and then I can, before I save, I have, of course, now to select the disciplines. So I defined the discipline before. So I say, okay, I have a cost estimation, and I have, as executor, for example, I select my custom discipline, the BIM management. So, and now I can save that. And now basically my structure is here. So you see now you can expand all, and here you see now model 1, model 2, and properties. So you can basically add as many requirements you have to the process definition. And what we do is we're going to upload normally here just a Vpn Diagram into the description so that you can follow that. So this is just a picture, and then, normally we add a PDF file, or you can also add a Visio file or things like that, so that people can better follow the detail. This is the process definition, and by the end, last but not least, is the exchange requirement. Actually, currently is only a very simple page for the exchange requirement, because we upload our Excel files to this description here as attached documents. So we developed this not yet in the platform, and as I mentioned, it's really the next step will be that we have here an embedded IDS editor, so that you can do your exchange requirements in the platform itself. If you're finished, then you have to add a changelog. So you say, okay, I have a version here, I have added something, and I say, okay, this is the first publication, for example. And if I save that, you will see in the metadata. Takes a second. In the metadata, I have now my version number. Then now the last thing to explain is maybe the comment functions. So you have two different roles in the backend. You have the project leader. So the project leader can, of course, edit the use case. And you have the project team. The project team can read the use cases, they see everything, and they can comment. And if I say, okay, for example, the management summary, I can make my comment. You have to change blah, 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 something like that. And what you see now is the project leader sees now somebody left a comment here. It's red. Then you can open this comment and add another comment. I've changed that and submit that. So you see, you have a whole change history in the comments. It always stays red until the project leader says, okay, mark comments as red, because then he knows, okay, I did this. And once I did that, it's green again, but I jump on the comments. I will always see this history. Of course, I can also delete if somebody writes a nonsense. But I think this is the very important part also for the project teams. They don't have to edit the use case. They simply have to comment the use case. You need to have a strong project leader who runs the use case and develops the use case together with his team. And the teams simply comments and reviews the use case. So this is how a use case look like. Maybe I'm going to show you the example now, this prefabrication of pipe, that you see how it looks like if it's filled. So you see now, here's the description with embedded pictures in it, with disciplines, what we selected here, for example, generic stages, simply design and engineering. And then you have the process definition. With uploaded documents here, and if you jump into the definition, you will see here again, this is an embedded picture, and here we have the whole description with the changelog, with all the fields which are in here. So this is the structure, and you have the very same structure. If I jump now to the front end, for this prefabrication of pipe again, that we can compare. So here you have the prefabrication. This is now the front end. And you see here, again, you have the whole structure. You can expand everything. So this is how it's displayed in the front end. If we jump now to the back end, this is how the back end looks like. You see it's very, very similar, and very easy to understand how the structure will be. This is how I create the use case. And last but not least, if I like to publish this use case, this can only be done by the administrator, of course. Then I can do some revision of the use case, or maybe I'm going to show you that because this is also very important. So if I like to publish my use case, I can say I create a revision. I can now say first publication as a revision. And now if I go back, takes a second. If I go back to my use case, so now I see they're all revisions, and what you see here is I just did this first publication, and now I can go here and say, okay, I like to publish this use case. What you see again, you have always the languages which are available on the tool, on the service. So it's possible that you create the same use case with different languages, but you don't have to publish it at the same time. You can do step by step. So I say, okay, for example, now in English, I have maturity level. I have, let's say, a proven one. The use case definition, so the first core element is approved. The process definition is a draft, and and the exchange requirement, for example, is not available. And then I can publish. This is publication of the language, and I even can say, okay, I like to publish only the first two stages, design and engineering, but not the construction, for example. And I don't like to publish the German version. I can then also mark it as a new one or as a favorite, and so on. And I can say document still in progress. If I save now, this will be published on the website. I don't do that now. You have to believe me that this will be done. But you see, I think the important message here is you can really publish a use case step by step in different languages and so on. So it's full flexibility here for the publication. So this is it. I don't know how much time I have. I saw it 1 hour, so I'm quite in time for some questions.
May I have a question for you? May I?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can
Okay. So in Italy, we have started to use some months ago, but then we stopped because of many problems. But now we would like to reuse the system. Mm-hmm. My first question is this: that in Italy, in public tenders, we have a different life cycle.
Yeah.
So we can add the Italian way of dividing the life cycle for the.
Yeah. You can. I have to add these life cycles as an administrator, but you can. If you send me the stages, then I can add that. You see, for example, these are all already the stages I have here. Yeah. And if you give me the information, then I will upload the Italian stages as well.
Okay. And the second question is that I am preparing the body of knowledge for the qualification on energy performance and BIM. Mm-hmm. And so in that case, we have we will have the stages for all the life cycle of the building, but related to energy performance. Mm-hmm. And I would need to do it both in English and in Italian. And so in that case, the stage will be different, but there is the possibility to link when they are equal, the two different stages from the ISO 1596 and the Italian system.
Yes, maybe I have to show you on the training website. You have here on the features, you see the life cycle stages, and what we have is kind of a mapping here.
Okay.
You have you can download this one, and this maybe I can show you that. So we have always the 22263 is the main stage, and here is the mapping. And as you see, it's quite difficult actually for the different stages actually to always find the right mapping here. But if you do that, then of course I can integrate that into the platform as well.
Okay, thank you.
So maybe if you like to apply for attendance, then you can write the BSI management office just a mail and get in contact with them so that you can do the contract. And yeah, I will be very happy then to set up the attendance for you, that you can really start working with that. I think out of the feedbacks, maybe somebody is already here from other chapters they run attendant. I think it's really quite an easy to understand system. So after, let's say, 2-3 training sessions for 1 hour, you can already really work on the use case management. I think with this 1 hour session, you got already the full picture. And of course, you have to work a little bit with the platform, but it's really a straightforward approach. So it's not really complicated. And this was also the meaning actually from this platform, give the community a possibility to upload use cases and to develop use cases in a very structured but very easy way.
Hi, Thomas. It's Anna from Poland.
Hi.
Hi. I would have a question about pricing. It's completely clear for me what the chapter should pay for being a tenant, but I don't understand very well how it's working with enterprise. Last time on chapter monthly call, you said that we can have some revenues if we are collaborating with some enterprises.
Yeah.
I saw the price like for 4,000 euros, but I don't understand very well.
Okay.
Give
Yeah.
specific.
So if you have a tenant, this is the requirement. So you have to have a own tenant, because you have to do the administration for your local companies. I will not do any administration for Polish companies. This is too much for me. So therefore, you need to have your own tenant. You have to pay the buildingSMART admission fee for this reselling option for 4,000 euro. But you can basically do the pricing to the company themselves. So you can sell that for 8,000 or 10,000 euro if you like. So it's up to you what kind of pricing do you do for the company. But you have to pay a license fee for or admission fee of 4,000 euro to buildingSMART.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions? So many people, so not. Is it clear to everybody, or I'm surprised that no more questions are raised. Otherwise, I invite you to really get engaged to the use case management. Start with the tenant and work with your chapters and give them really something which that they can benefit from. So we see that in Switzerland we have about 12 project groups running, which really develops use cases here in Switzerland. And in Switzerland is really a big issue, the use case management. And it's really a benefit for your members to get involved in such kind of a platform and see how easy it is when you follow a structure. And then you can publish, and people can really benefit from your chapter, or the community in your country can benefit from what you publish.
Very good. Thank you, Thomas, again for your time. I think we've, continued to get good interest in the service, and we'll be running a session at the virtual summit, which we hope chapters can also come and join. So. Thank you very much. Please reach out to us if you need any more information. And I think we've recorded this, so we can probably make this available for people that would like to rewatch it if required, if there's something they missed. But yeah, I think we're available for anything. And thank you all very much for your time. Thanks, Thomas, again for your time as well. We appreciate it.
It was my pleasure here. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, goodbye.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Goodbye, colleagues.
Bye-bye.